My granddad, he was a big gardener, but that was just after the war, and everybody were growing their own crops and had their allotments and stuff like that, and he just filled his garden. It weren't a big garden, and he was brilliant at growing. He had a little greenhouse with tomatoes, and he grew everything, just self-sufficient, absolutely self-sufficient. And I learnt a lot off him, but I weren't that interested in vegetables sometimes. So my next door neighbour was a guy called Ron Howard, and not the film director, by the way. He was a lovely old guy, and he'd lived next door to our family. A lovely guy. We were always very sociable. We were always meeting up. And he taught me a lot about gardening and birds especially. You know, he was a good friend, and that's how I picked a lot of it up, I suppose. And it wasn't really till I'd finished drama school and I started working, I managed to get a place of our own, and I'd got a garden again. And then a bit more money, I got a bigger garden. It went on from there. But I did the same thing. I always put a little pond in every garden I went to, because I love ponds. I love what they attract, the frogs, all the wildlife. So the ponds have got bigger and all. There's a big one over there, and now we get mallards and moorhens and kingfishers and all sorts of stuff on there. And then I had a bit more time, you know, I'd be working away, but I'd come back and I'd have gaps, and I'd quite a few gaps, so I could spend a bit more time in the garden, I suppose.
More chiffchaffs are choosing to overwinter in our gardens rather than flying to Africa. Does this give them a head start on the best territories, or are they one beast from the east away from disaster? Yes to both, I suppose. Chiffchaffs, last 20, 30 years especially, more and more are staying here over winter. We know why, climate change, mild. And I think we forget that migration has issues of its own, you know, having to fly that far, maybe getting eaten. So it's not necessarily a bad idea for them to stick around if they're not going to freeze to death. And it does give them a head start on territories, but also we do get cold snaps. You know, we can get quite nasty cold snaps in kind of February time. Yeah, and they're very small birds. So I think it's part of this wider pattern. We've got quite a lot of species that are increasingly just staying here in the UK.
It's warm.
Because it's warm. I don't really know what this means for the future of chiffchaffs though.
If there are chiffchaffs in your garden, is there anything you should do to help them overwinter against the cold?
I guess the same as you do for any birds that you're trying to help over winter, which is like having food out, making sure that you have water out that's not frozen over. And I think in general, maybe having a think about how you can make your garden more bird friendly. So kind of having plants that will eventually produce food or attract insects that birds eat and stuff like that. Like basically just being more nature friendly is always going to create a space where birds are more likely to survive.
Yeah. It's like hawthorns, isn't it? I mean, I've planted a lot of hawthorns, and the redwings I was talking about. They more or less stripped this big hawthorn tree, you know, in a day. Yeah. But, you know, I think they're a good meal. I don't mind losing the berries. But I guess it's stuff like that, isn't it?
Absolutely. Like just, I guess, moving away from kind of very pruned lawns and stuff to kind of places where animals can actually live.
Rewilding your garden for birds doesn't have to be complicated. It often starts with just letting things get a little bit untidy.
I love my wild area because it means it's less work for me, right? I don't have to do anything. I just have to let it go. So it's great. Nobody's on my case about tidying up. I'm like, no, that's for the hedgehogs, it's for the butterflies, it's for the caterpillars.
Here's NHS doctor and RSPB president, Dr Amir Khan.
At the back of our garden, we've got a little pond that we built, and then at the back of the pond, we've got all the nettles, and it's also close to our compost heap. So we get loads of caterpillars. Well, not right now, but in the spring and summer, we get lots of caterpillars. Yeah. And then we see the blue tits coming in and picking them off, and then taking them off to their nests and stuff. It's such a wonderful thing to see, and it's so easy for us all to do. We've just got to move away from this kind of idea of manicured gardens, right?
Yeah,
where everything
I
has to
know.
be perfect.
I know, it is. It's like me. We've got a load of nettles, but they're towards the back, which is fine. I'm not running through them every day.
Yeah.
I don't worse
it
than
is
that.
a bugger when you get stuck. It is a bugger.
Wherever I've been, I've always put a pond in because, you don't have to have a big pond for what it attracts, for frogs and yolks and all sorts of stuff, doesn't it? Yeah.
All the insects that ponds bring with them as well are perfect for birds, aren't they? So we've got a wren that kind of hops around our pond, picking off things that are flying close by to it.
You'll know our next guest from the airwaves and from our episode on birdsong. Zoe Ball and Joe Whiley both came to birding later in life and are sharing their passion for gardening and wildlife on their own podcast, Dig It.
When you get home off a production, you find the great outdoors and, and checking out the birds, twitching, looking at the birds, being outdoors is really therapeutic for you. Do you garden? Do you dig stuff up? Do you plant stuff? Do you do veg? What are your gardening experiences?
Planted a lot of native trees, just like saplings when they were small, and sometimes you only have to make a spit with a spade, put them in and then squash it back in again. I think that's what they told me.
The Sean Bean gardening technique, I love it.
It's easy.
Dig a hole, stick it in.
and then they've grown now, 5-6 years later, they're 10 foot high, and so I'm growing like hedgerows and copses and stuff like that. Me and my garden. Me and him.
Well, you were in Lady Chatterley's Lover, weren't you?
Yeah.
It's sort of like that role actually became real life without the scandal of the drama. The outdoors is what I'm talking about here. It's amazing. It's been so therapeutic to both Joe and I being out in nature and our gardens, and we've both grown roses, and we've both learned that some things work and some things don't, but that's okay. And the benefits of tree mulch. Who thought we'd be collecting our leaves and realising it's such a gift, gardening. Look at us all.
When we were young.
It is I know. It's the new rock and roll, Sean. These things make us so happy. So good.
I like it here because you see a lot of the sky. As you said, I love the seasons and how things change and different birds. And there's like a lot of redwings we've got here at the moment that come in the winter and they eat all the berries off the trees, and then you get swallows and house martins in the spring and in the summer. So it's just constantly evolving, and I just love to see the transition of the seasons and how they change and what comes up from the earth, and I kind of like the prehistoric look. I've got a lot of ferns and things like that, but it's like they say, your feet are planted firmly on the earth, and I think that there's a lot to be said for that. It's so grounding, and it's just not like anything you ever do, like our jobs and stuff like that. It's nothing to do with them, and I don't like anybody ringing me up and things when I'm outside and gardening.